Hi, I'm Mike Lanesman and welcome to another video tutorial.
This Photoshop tutorial will deal with the use of the Radial filter in Creative Cloud 2014. One of the possible effects that can be achieved with this is shown on the screen right now as the opening screenshot for this video tutorial. On examining the Photoshop user interface, you will notice there is no evidence of a radial filter available. The radial filter is available in the Adobe Camera Raw module. The Camera Raw module traditionally is used for opening and correcting or developing raw images. It must also be stated at this point that the Adobe Camera Raw module is exactly the same module as the Develop module in Lightroom 5, and obviously this effect can be achieved in exactly the same way in Lightroom 5. So how do we open Camera Raw? This is a normal JPEG image. We head on over to Bridge and we see that this is a JPEG image with kind permission from iStock. Double clicking on this file will simply just open it in Photoshop. However, for many years now, Adobe have made it possible to open a JPEG or a TIFF file or many other file formats by either pressing Command+R or by selecting the image and heading on over to this module over here, which is the Open in Camera Raw module. The Camera Raw module has so many available adjustments that it always makes sense to use this module. What's happened now in Photoshop Creative Cloud 2014 is that it has now become possible from Adobe Photoshop to use the Camera Raw module as a filter. Double clicking on the JPEG image still will open it in Photoshop as previously. We now head on over to the filter menu and invoke the Camera Raw filter command. Camera Raw is now open with the JPEG. We will now head on over to the toolbar and select the radial filter. We do need to make one simple adjustment before we start the correction, because if we don't, it alerts us, please make a change before using this filter. So we can simply change the temperature or the exposure, and we can now draw our radial filter. This is the effect that's going to retain the content in the center of the filter and lighten or darken the content on the outside of the radial filter. We are able to place the cursor on each one of these nodes and to enlarge it or reduce it, and we're also able to rotate the effect. You will also notice that it draws the filter from the center out. If we would like to draw from the center out, traditionally in Photoshop, we know we have to hold the Option key or the Alt key, and then we draw and it draws from the center. Here, unaided, no modifier keys, we draw from the center out. What I would like to do here is to reduce the exposure. You will now notice we're highlighting the center subject. The next thing we can do is to reduce the temperature, the color temperature, in order to add a blue effect. And it's also worthwhile to note that all of these controls in Photoshop or in Camera Raw are what we call scrubby controls or scrubby sliders. Placing the cursor over the name of the correction and clicking and dragging will change the values as we click and drag. So we can make it slightly bluer. We're now able to change the tint, the exposure, if we require that some more, contrast, highlights, shadows, clarity, saturation, any effect that you require can be done from here. So Camera Raw is fantastic. It allows us so much functionality. Clicking the OK button now updates the effect, and we're now able to save the image. So all this has been done from within Photoshop. A wonderful new addition to Adobe Photoshop Creative Cloud 2014. I hope this has been of use to you, and thank you for watching. Bye-bye.